Space was quiet. Too quiet. Far away from any star or planet, a dark shadow moved slowly through the black sky. It was a ship, long, silent, and invisible to all radars. Its name was Horizon, and it was human. The Empire did not know. They believed humans were weak, still rebuilding after the last war. They thought Earth was far behind in technology. They never expected this. Inside the Horizon, there was no shouting, no alarms, only red lights and quiet whispers. A calm, deep voice spoke from the ship's AI. Cloak active. No Imperial signals nearby. Begin Operation Ghost. Captain Raina Cole stood on the command deck. Her eyes were sharp, cold, focused. She nodded. Move us closer to Sector 9 Delta. Stay in the shadows. Around her, the crew moved like ghosts. Silent. Trained. Dangerous. They were not here to talk. 10 years ago, the Empire sent a warning to Earth. Bow to the stars, or be destroyed. Earth refused. The Empire attacked with 3 fleets. Cities burned, millions died, but the humans did not break. They vanished. For 10 years, the Empire heard nothing, until now. The Horizon had crossed the edge of Imperial space 3 hours ago. No sensors picked it up. Its hull was made from blacklight reflective alloys. Its engines gave off no heat. It was a ship designed for one thing, to disappear. And now, it was here, deep in enemy territory. Target is ahead, whispered Tactical. Officer Lin. Imperial outpost, small, weak, no fleet support. Captain Raina nodded. We take it. No survivors, no wreckage. Make it look like nothing happened. Far away, on the small Imperial outpost, life was normal. Soldiers played games. Officers slept. No one expected trouble, until the lights flickered, then went out. The outpost AI tried to send an alert, but the signal jammed. The control room screens turned black. Only one word appeared. Ghost. By the time the soldiers grabbed their weapons, it was already over. No explosions. No noise. Just silence. Back on the Horizon, Raina watched the screen. Outpost deleted. No trace. Moving to next phase. The crew didn't cheer. They just worked. Raina turned to her second-in-command, Commander Malik. They'll notice this. Maybe not today, but soon. Malik gave a small smile. Let them wonder. That's the point. Raina stared out into space. Somewhere, the Empire still believed they were in control. But that was about to change. Meanwhile, on a distant Imperial command ship, Lieutenant Kyril looked at his datapad. His eyebrows came together. Something was wrong. Sir, he said, walking to his superior. Outpost 3 Kappa has gone silent. Last signal was 4 hours ago. The officer yawned. Probably a systems glitch. Those outer posts break down all the time. But sir, the signal ended mid-sentence. There's no error code. Just nothing. The officer shrugged. File a report. Move on. But Kyril didn't move on. In his gut, something felt wrong. Deeply wrong. He didn't know it yet. But this was just the beginning. Back on Earth, deep underground, old leaders sat in a dark room, watching the Horizon's mission report in silence. A map showed Imperial space. Red zones blinked. One man spoke. They still don't know we're here. Another smiled. Good. Let the Empire sleep. We will wake them with fire. Back on the Horizon, Captain, Raina stood alone at the viewing deck. Stars shined all around. She whispered to herself, You forgot about us. You thought we were finished, but now... She turned away. Now we come without mercy. The Horizon turned. Engines hummed softly. It disappeared again into the black. No signal, no trace, no warning. The first move had been made, and the galaxy didn't even know the game had started. The outpost was gone, not destroyed, not damaged, just gone. Lieutenant Kyril sat alone in the dark room, staring at the data screen. His fingers moved quickly, checking logs, scanning wave patterns, searching for answers. But there were none. Outpost 3. Kappa had sent a short signal, then vanished. No fire, no escape pods, no signs of a battle. It was like the station had been erased from space. "This isn't natural," Kirill whispered. "Something took it." But no one was listening. Earlier that day, the Empire's regional command center received the alert. The report was short. Outpost 3 Kappa, signal lost, no contact for 6 hours. Commander Var, a tall officer with sharp eyes and little patience, looked at the message and sighed. "It's just a technical fault. Those outer stations break all the time." But Kirill didn't agree. He stood straight. "Sir, the signal didn't fade. It stopped. Instant cutoff. That's not normal." Var raised an eyebrow. "You think it was attacked?" Kirill nodded slowly. "Possibly. We should send a scout team." Var waved his hand. "Not worth it. No valuable resources, no civilians, just soldiers. Replaceable." Kirill's jaw tightened. Replaceable. Far across the stars, inside the stealth human battleship Horizon, Captain Raina Cole listened to the Empire's comm traffic. Her ship had intercepted the Empire's discussion. "They're ignoring the missing outpost," reported Lin, the tactical officer. "They think it's a system error." Raina smiled without humor. "Good. That means we still control the story." Commander Malik stepped forward. "What's the next target?" Raina pointed at the holomap. "Outpost 4 Zeta, bigger, more people, but we won't destroy it. This time, we leave just enough to scare them." Inside Outpost 4 Zeta, things were normal. Ships came and went, soldiers trained, officers drank tea and spoke of promotions. Nobody was afraid, until the power dropped. At first, it was just flickering lights. Then, strange echoes in the hallways. Metal groaned. Shadows moved where no one was standing. The station AI began glitching. Unknown presence detected. Scanning. Error. Guards ran to control rooms. Weapons were drawn. One officer tried to send a warning signal, but the comms were dead. Suddenly, a black shape passed across the viewing window, silent and fast. Then everything went black. 1 hour later, Outpost 4 Zeta was found, mostly empty, no major damage, no signs of explosions, just silence. Inside, bodies were untouched, weapons still in hands. Eyes open in terror. One wall had a message burned into it. "We remember." Only one man was left alive. A junior officer. He sat on the floor, shaking, eyes wide. When asked what happened, he whispered one word. "Human." Back on the horizon, Captain Raina received the mission report. "Left one survivor," said Lin, "just like you ordered." Raina nodded. "Good. That's how stories begin. Let the Empire fear shadows. Let them guess what we are." Malik stepped forward. "We've sent the message. What's next?" Raina looked at the stars. "Now, we speak." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Kirill was losing sleep. He had reviewed both outpost cases. One vanished, the other half silent with a survivor who kept repeating the same word. Human. He tried to show his new report to Commander Var, but the commander laughed. Humans? Impossible. They don't have the tech. They don't have the courage. Kirill wasn't so sure. He opened a secret file on his private terminal, an old human transmission from years ago. A speech made just before Earth went dark. The words played slowly. "You wanted us quiet. You wanted us small. But you forgot. One thing, humans adapt." Kirill stared at the screen. What if they never stopped building? Deep in Imperial HQ, High Command reviewed the survivors' report. "A ghost ship," one general said. "Stealth technology far beyond ours." There was no blast, another added, no noise, no warning. The Supreme Admiral stood in silence. Then he said, "Send a Black Ops unit, quietly. If this is human, We need to know. Back in the shadows of space, the horizon was already moving. Reyna stood at the front of the ship. They're starting to notice, Malik said beside her. She nodded. Good. Let them feel unsafe. Let them fear the dark. Behind her, screens lit up with new targets, more outposts, more weaknesses. Reyna smiled. This is only the second move. The board is large, and we're not here to play fair. The horizon vanished again into the void. No sound, no trace, just the whisper of fear spreading across the stars. In the farthest, quietest part of Imperial space, a strange signal repeats every hour. This is not a warning. This is a beginning. It's in an old, dead human language no Imperial system can translate, but one man can. Lieutenant Kirill stood in the dark, listening to the strange signal again. The voice was low and cold, almost human, but something had changed. Repeat signal. Dead Zone Sector 8. Message unknown. Kirill knew the Empire wouldn't listen, but he couldn't ignore it. He pulled up an ancient database, one that still held Earth's lost languages, and slowly, the message became clear. This is not a warning. This is a beginning. In the high halls of Imperial Command, Admiral Doran read the same report and tossed it aside. It's probably just pirates or rebels playing with old tech. Nothing serious. But the message kept repeating. And the source? A sector called the Dead Zone, a place abandoned years ago after a spacequake destroyed several moons. No ships. Went there now. No signals ever came from it, until now. Back on the human ship horizon, Captain Reyna watched the Imperial reaction from a safe distance. They're confused, said Malik. They don't know what it means. Reyna smirked. That's the point. A direct attack is loud. Fear is quiet. The horizon had placed a small relay beacon in the dead zone. It sent a signal in an ancient human dialect, just enough to bait curious minds. The trap was ready. Kirill knew what he had to do. His request for a scout ship was denied, so he stole one. Late at night, he left the base with a small jump craft heading straight for the dead zone. He left a note. If I die, check the signal. If I live, listen to what I say. As Kirill's ship reached the dead zone, scanners went crazy. Magnetic fields shifted. Old debris floated like frozen ghosts. Then he saw it. A moon. Half destroyed, covered in black marks. And something else. Metal fragments. Not Imperial. Not alien. Human. He landed near a ruined station. Inside, he found old Earth tech, but upgraded. Clean. Recent. They've been here, Kirill whispered. They never left. He turned to leave, then stopped. In the shadows. A red light blinked. A voice behind him said, You've seen enough. An Imperial warship disappears mid-jump. No wreckage, no escape pods. The only thing left behind, a human skull floating in space. Commander Var slammed his fist on the table. How does a cruiser vanish in open space? Then where's the report? The officer trembled. Sir, there is no data. 1 second it was mid-jump, then nothing. High. Command was in panic mode. This wasn't an outpost. This was a warship with full defenses, escort drones, and elite crew. Gone in a blink. Back on the horizon, the crew watched the footage in silence. They had used the Whisper Bomb, a prototype weapon. No blast, no light, just a sudden collapse of space-time inside a ship. It folded the vessel inward, like crumpling a paper from the inside. Perfectly silent, perfectly terrifying. They'll never know what hit them, said Lynn. Reyna replied, They're starting to understand that we're not here to play. Kirill woke up in a cold room. He had been captured by humans. But they hadn't hurt him. Not yet. A woman walked in. Captain Reyna. She studied him for a long moment. You're not like the others. You're still curious. Kirill nodded slowly. I didn't come to fight. I came to understand. Reyna stepped closer. Then listen carefully. Earth never stopped. We only disappeared, so we could evolve. She showed him a screen, a map, hundreds of red dots, each dot, a human battleship, waiting. Horizon is just the first. The real fleet hasn't moved. Yet. Kirill's eyes widened. Why now? Why return? Reyna answered simply. Because you still think you're in control. At Imperial command, rumors spread fast. The word human was now banned from reports. But soldiers whispered, anyway, a ghost ship destroyed a cruiser. They leave no signals. They're watching us. Panic started to grow. Recruitment numbers dropped. Morale cracked. The Empire was bleeding from the inside, and the war hadn't even begun. Reyna stood on the horizon bridge, looking out at the stars. They are afraid, Malik said. Good, she replied. Fear slows the mind, and we move fast. Behind them, the ship prepared its next jump. Target, Inner Empire territory. This time, they wouldn't be quiet. This time, they wanted to be seen. A shipyard near the Empire's capital goes dark. 10,000 workers vanish. On the walls, painted in human blood. You taught us fear. Now taste your own lesson. Panic spread like fire. The Empire was losing control of its own territory. No enemy fleets, no invasions, just silence, then disappearance. Fear crept into every command center, every outpost, every patrol, even loyal. Officers now slept with weapons under their pillows. Lieutenant Kirill sat alone in a locked room under Imperial guard. He had been found after his capture by humans, but now he was treated like a traitor. You've been compromised, Commander Var had said. But Kirill didn't care. He had seen the truth, and deep inside, he wasn't afraid of humans anymore. He was afraid of the Empire. Back on the horizon, Captain Reyna received the shipyard report. 10,000 gone, not a single scream, Malik said. Just one message left behind. Reyna read the blood-written words. They're finally starting to listen, she said. Now let's make them scream. The horizon jumped again, this time straight into a rich imperial system filled with trade routes, luxury worlds, and weak defenses. They didn't come to kill. They came to crash the economy. In one night, 8 major banking AIs went offline, 200 trade freighters vanished. The central credit exchange was hacked. The Empire woke up broke, blind, and panicked. The message was clear. You ruled for comfort. We rose in pain. For centuries, the Empire showed strength by building flag worlds, huge cities of power, pride, and propaganda. Now one of them is on fire, and no one knows how the humans got in. Flag World Soria was called the Jewel of the Empire. Now it was burning. Ships fell from the sky like ash. Firestorms covered the towers. People ran, screaming, not from soldiers, but from silence. The horizon had never landed. It simply appeared, released a wave of precision drones, and left. By the time the Empire responded, the city was already dust. In Imperial Council chambers, alarms screamed. Generals shouted. Plans collapsed. The Supreme Admiral finally stood up. Enough! Bring every fleet home. We are under full invasion. But it was already too late. Back on Earth, hidden beneath miles of rock, the unified human command watched in silence. A screen showed Imperial systems blinking red. They underestimated us, one old general whispered. Now we break their pride. Reyna stood on Horizon's bridge, her eyes burned like ice. One last move, she said. One message they can't ignore. The crew nodded. The final jump was set. Destination, the Imperial Throne World. The Empire's homeworld is protected by 50 fleets. No one has ever broken through, until now. They saw it too late. The Horizon didn't come alone. It came with 300 stealth ships, each one silent, each one cloaked, each one deadly. They appeared inside the shield grid, already past defenses. One by one, command towers exploded. Government centers shut down. The Emperor's palace went dark. No alarms. No warnings. Just collapse. In the streets, Imperial citizens screamed and fled. Their statues fell. Their flags burned. And in the sky, one message played on every screen, in every language. This is not revenge. This is balance. In the last hour of the attack, the Emperor tried to speak. Reyna answered with one word. No. And then the palace was gone. No human fleet remains in sight. The stars are quiet again, but the Empire is shattered, and a final message appears across all systems, every screen, every ship, every station. One message. We were the shadow beneath your boots. We watched. We waited. You thought we were gone. We are not your slaves. We are not your pets. We are human, and we decide the future now. Lieutenant Kirel, now freed, stood at the edge of a ruined command center. He looked at what remained of the Empire and whispered, "You should have listened." Back on Earth, Captain Reyna removed her uniform and looked out at the stars. "The war is over," Malik said. She shook her head. "No, the Empire is over. The humans are just beginning." The horizon powered down. No flags, no medals, no monuments. Only silence, only purpose. The Empire is broken. The fleets are gone. The throne is ash. But one question remains. What comes after victory? 3 weeks after the throne world fell, space had grown eerily quiet. No battles, no orders. No flags. Imperial systems blinked in confusion. Some colonies cheered the fall, others mourned. Most waited in silence. They expected humans to take over, to rule, to punish. But no ships came. Not one. Lieutenant Kirel stood on the deck of a ruined Imperial cruiser, now used as a relief station. He watched lines of civilians come for food and power packs. His uniform was gone. Now he wore plain clothes and a soft expression. People looked to him with strange eyes, some with fear, others with hope. He didn't know which was worse. On the edge of known space inside the horizon, Captain Reyna Cole sat alone in her dark command room. The ship was no longer in stealth. It floated calmly near a dying star. "Message received," said Malik, walking in. Reyna didn't turn around. "From Earth?" He nodded. "They say it's done. No new targets. No new missions. The Council wants us to disappear again." She closed her eyes. "And the rest of the fleet?" "All in silent retreat. No human ship remains in Imperial space." Reyna stood slowly. Just like before. Across the galaxy, Imperial governors scrambled to hold their systems together. Some surrendered to local rebellion. Some tried to rebuild the fleet, only to be met with mysterious system failures, weapons that wouldn't fire, or stations that exploded. Without warning, others made peace with their new truth. The Empire was no longer feared because somewhere out there, humans were watching. A strange thing began to happen. People started speaking in whispers again, not about fear, but about freedom. Worlds once under brutal rule began to elect their own leaders. Old enemies began talking. A galaxy once ruled by war and pride began to imagine something else. And then it happened. The last remaining signal from Horizon played across every major channel. Reyna's voice. Calm. Human. "We do not want your throne. We do not want your chains. We wanted only one thing, to never kneel again. If you choose peace, build it yourselves. If you choose war again, just remember, we are patient." The message ended. Then, silence. Years passed. The Empire never returned. In its place, a new network of free planets slowly emerged. Trade routes reopened. Art returned. Schools taught history differently now. And deep in space, children were told bedtime stories about a black ship with no name, a ghost crew, and the whisper of a human voice that changed the stars. On a forgotten world, an old woman walked across a quiet field. She once led a fleet. Now she tended to growing trees. A small child ran up to her. "Is it true?" he asked. "You were in the battle that broke the empire?" She smiled gently. "I was in a ship, that's all." "Did you win?" She looked up at the stars. "We remembered who we were. That was the victory." Final message: the empire fell not because of fire, but because it never believed the ones it burned would rise. In silence, we built. In shadows, we waited. Now the stars are ours too. We are human. We do not forget. We do not kneel.